Good evening.
Good evening.
If you do have a mobile phone, if you'd like to put it on silent, please, thank you. Right, a huge welcome to David Graham, who joins us for the first time with So What Have We Come Back For This Time? David from Warwickshire addresses the subject of reincarnation, one that permeates religion to varying degrees. And there are lots of questions such as why do we return? And do we actually return? And David attempts to answer these and more from the perspective of a past life regression therapist with vast experience. We'll also be invited to take part in an exercise which might be of interest to us. Please welcome David Graham.
Thank you, thank you. This is weird, you've all gone dark. I do some talks sometimes. I usually stand out in front of people doing this, so all this stuff here and behind the desk is quite new for me. But anyway, I'll give it my best shot. Okay, so first of all, my name's David Graham. I'm a regression therapist. I take people to past lives. My main motive for doing that is for therapeutic reasons, but also we find out lots more stuff along the way. Now, so first of all, I wanted to ask you, by raising your hands and hoping I can see them, who actually believes in reincarnation here? Okay. What about who doesn't believe in reincarnation? Okay, fine. What about any not sures? Yeah, it's fine, fine. Any don't cares? And what about this one? That's okay. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about myself first and how I got into this. I was agnostic for most of my life, up until a spiritual awakening in the year 2000. It was to do with Reiki and attunement. I started getting the bells and whistles and seeing lots of things and etc. And I suddenly realised that either I was going crazy or the way that I understood myself and the world around me, I'd got completely wrong. And so I started to develop a different kind of awareness, and I moved on from there. Trained as a hypnotherapist. Yeah, and I kind of believed in reincarnation at that stage, although I was a bit, unsure about it. But I didn't really see the point in past life regressions. Okay, it's an interesting personal story, but so what? That's all it is. Until my father died, and my brother was his carer. And he had a strong interest in past life stuff. And so the training as a hypnotherapist gave me enough to just, go there and do it, but it was very basic. But I agreed to actually give him a regression. And it was very useful. It was very pertinent to what was going on in his life. Our father had died, he was a carer, he got no money, he was in his late 40s, didn't know what to do with his life. And where he went to gave him lots of insight into the position he was in at that time. He also struck up a dialogue with a spiritual being that he regarded as a spirit guide. And some of that dialogue turned out to be very interesting. Yeah. As it says up there, by the third session, I began to realise a lot of the dialogue between my brother and this spirit guide wasn't so much for his benefit, it was more interesting for me and what I was doing and how I was understanding what was actually happening. We had 9 sessions in total, and as we went through those 9 sessions, I began to realise that I was learning about how it all hung together. I was invited to explore, and one of the important things with a spirit guide is that they don't tell you what to do. It's a guide. You find out for yourself. And I kept finding out that every time I had a question, I found myself in a position where I could work it out. And that's what happened. So it was 9 sessions, and the 9th session was when it started getting weird. This 9th session, he went to a life where he was a student, and he was a student to a master, and he was trying to learn about alchemy. And this master was actually a woman. Would have said he was a mistress, but you'd have got the wrong idea. And it's in a civilization that was led by women, that was dominated is the wrong word, but the women appeared, as a gender, appeared to be more evolved than men within that place. I've dowsed and worked on it since, because I didn't have the presence of mind to actually ask when and so on, but it was a land called Mu, and it was about 30,000 years ago. This is one of the weirdest things. And it became clear that they were waiting for us. My brother's past life persona and the woman that he was studying with actually knew that he, in this future life, all this time ahead, was going to go back and be regressed to that time, and they were waiting for us. That was what I've had one other experience since that, of a similar time where someone has been waiting for a person to get that past life recall. And it led to all sorts of questions. Well, how does time work? Is this past life? Is it something parallel? All sorts of questions started coming up. In the past life, the woman, the master, was telling him, no, you're not ready for alchemy. Go and play with the children. Go into nature. Which at once, at one point, kind of sounds a bit patronising. I realised later, actually, that it wasn't at all patronising. It was significant that she didn't say, go and start reading a textbook on science. He said, connect with nature. Work with children, see the innocence in children. So I realised later on she was saying, go and know yourself. But at the time, I thought, well, I was getting a bit cheeky. I said, well, okay, well, tell me about alchemy. And my brother got this thing coming to his head. It's not an original story, but it's something he was aware of, about the frog that lived in the well. Has anyone heard the story about the frog that lived in the well? Got a visit from a frog that came from the ocean. Well, okay. There's a frog that lived in a well, and he's quite happy there. Got a bit of water, a bit of grass, bit of plant life, a bit of food, rocks, and lots there. And one day this frog that came from the ocean went down the well, started going down, met the frog that lived there, and they started a conversation. And the conversation went something like, oh, hi, welcome to my abode. It's nice here. Look, see, I've got the plant life, I've got everything I need. What's it? I said, where are you from? Well, I'm from the ocean. What's an ocean? Come on, I'll show you. The frog leads the other one up, starts going up. It's like, oh wow, that little dot, that little glimmer of light up there, it's getting bigger. Goes up a bit more. Oh, yeah, I can see more and more of this now. It's the sky blue and white stuff going around. Yeah, okay. Goes up right to the top. Start seeing grass, start seeing trees, start seeing other things, looking around, and the one frog says to the other, there's the ocean. And the frog looks around, sees the ocean, and his head explodes. So I discovered that I'm not ready to learn about alchemy either. Life's a bugger, there you go. Lots of synchronicity around that time. Events were unfolding. My father's death was, I won't go into all the story, but it was significant in the timing. I was just in the last week of my training as a hypnotherapist when that happened. And I was just about ready to offer my first past life regression. We were always broke, never had any money. Suddenly I did have a bit of money. Because following this, I could go on and get some formal training in regression therapy. And that's what I did. So it's almost like a pathway opened up for me. And it's important to understand that I could have said no to any of this. I could have said, no, I don't want this. But the feelings in particular, the energy that was present in some of these regressions led me feeling, yes, this is what I want. And so I did. Okay. What happens when we die? Is it something? Was nothing? If your answer to yourself is nothing, I don't know what else I can say, you know. My answer is, yeah, something happens. I encounter it many, many times. If there's something, then what? The other question, following on from that, is, if something happens when we die, what about before we're born? What's going on then? Something or nothing? By the way, am I doing all right with the sound here? Because I can, yeah, okay, thanks.
I hope so.
Me too. Don't want to do it again.
Sounds good.
Okay, so then we're going to reincarnation. If something was happening before we're born, then what? And that's where we go into past lives. There's a photo of a guy there called Ian Stevenson. He was at University of Virginia. He did a lot of, I'll tell you the whole story. There's a guy, can't remember his name now, Hoover. He invented the Xerox machine anyway, this guy. And he was interested in what they called the paranormal. This was back in the 50s in the States. And he and his wife, they're interested in the paranormal, spiritual stuff. They went to see the Dalai Lama, things like that. And they also funded field trips for this chap, Ian Stevenson, an academic professor at the University of Virginia, to go out and study children's recall of past lives. He went out and I think he was doing it for from the early 60s till he died about 10 years ago. He did thousands. And it was something like 1,700 of the cases couldn't really be explained in any other way other than the child has recalled a memory of another life.